don't want to be this to be perceived as a negative, but I received a phone call from the president of St. John Health, and having a real concern about the area around Providence Hospital. It was not a pleasant conversation. If any of you, we talk a lot about other parts of the city, and sometimes we even point our finger and say Northland is an area that's not desirable, and sometimes even when the DDA is here making a presentation, it's a time to criticize. But Northland DDA area is a part of Southfield. It is our city. And when you cross 8 Mile, we've been talking about this sense of place, that when you cross 8 Mile and come into Southfield, you should know you're in Southfield. And I'm very concerned about that area. If you look at the maintenance of the buildings, if you look at 8 Mile, we're starting to have homelessness living under the bridge. Living. There are people you can see literally sleeping. There are mattresses. There are the carts gathered. Then I hope that we are engaged enough to know that we must make a difference. In the strip mall with one of our wonderful developments over in the DDA with a Kroger and a CVS, I get numerous complaints about people being approached by people soliciting money, by people who are in the shopping center. Actually, people gathering there every day, sitting on crates, and customers are going in and out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not acceptable in Southfield. And what I'm saying today is that we're going to have to roll up our sleeves and partner with the DDA. It's easy for us to sit here and say it's their fault, but this is our city and this is our image. Every election, we talk about the Northland area. And we're going to have to invest and be serious, and DDA, City Council, Code Enforcement, everybody needs to be at the table. And I'm telling you, one of the areas that I'm most concerned about is that bus station. We have activity that is not becoming, criminal activity, that's not becoming to the city of Southfield. And we cannot sit here as elected officials and turn our heads from that. It's our city and it's unacceptable. There is, we've talked about, is there surveillance of that area? Because we've heard of people just standing at the bus station and possibly distributing drugs. The bus is going and they're just standing. Well, is there surveillance? Well, guess what? Northland has surveillance, but they're only surveilling to see if anything is happening within the mall. And that is outside the mall. It is not their property. The city of Detroit owns it. We've got to step it up, because this is not acceptable. I can tell you, and the mode that I'm in right now, the campaign mode, that's the attack I get all the time. The city of Southfield, that Northland area, and I'm serious about this. I am very serious, and what can we do? I don't know all the answers, but I'm confident that in the city of Southfield, we have the resources and we have the political leadership to start turning that around. And I talk about code enforcement. I'm passionate about it. And when I ride around in that area, I'm not proud of it. I'm not. When I go into those buildings, I see these buildings, and I know they're not a Class A building, but, and I can't, if I start talking about the apartment buildings in that area, and all of us have brought some issues, but that one building that we had to go in, I was told at a beauty salon that existed, and I told them, no way that existed in my city, not in Southfield. And I took my car and drove over there, and because the building wasn't secured, able to walk through it, and I was totally disappointed. So it's our building, it's our public works, it's our police. It is us. And we can, I mean, this will be our legacy if we turn that area around. It goes to our planning department, our economic development. Are we partnering with them to redevelop that area? Are we bringing those on? And they're outside, I can tell you. I know for a fact, Shelley has talked to those people a number of times. She has gone to the conference of retail shopping centers. I have joined her. I went when it was Nick Banda here. I know we've talked to her, but it's past talking now. It's past talking, and we're going to have to become serious about that. And I'm confident we will. I think from this point on, we should be able to tell our citizens we're going to make a difference. And I'm confident we can do it.
All right, next item, Mr. Stewart.
I did want to say a few items as it relates to the mayor's comments, and I have to say I totally agree with you. I normally go to the Target, either on Southfield Road or the Target in Farmington, but just last week I went to the Target in Northland, and I was literally appalled at seeing that whole bus terminal issue, and I think we would not be responsible elected officials if we did not deal with Northland, with that whole bus area. So something has to be done. We need to come to the table and see what we can do to really put Northland back on the map, because it is a part of Southfield. We cannot ignore it. And the party's coming to the table with an open mind. So I do agree.
Mr. Percassi?
Let me, I got into this with the Department of Transportation. The big problem is that DDOT will not allow SMART to go into Detroit. So what happens is, if you are working in Southfield, you come to that depot, and then you have to wait for SMART bus to pick you up. Sometimes it's 2.5, 3 hours, believe it or not. Those individuals sometimes get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get over to that bus stop to be picked up by jitney or by SMART to get to work. So that amount of time an individual is waiting just lends itself to some activities that really are negative. And what we really ought to work on is the inefficiency of that whole situation, where SMART should be able to deliver an individual to Detroit, and DDOT ought to be able to deliver them into Southfield, or SMART could bring their people right out to the suburbs. Their office is in Detroit, SMART's office is in the Buell building. You know, it just makes sense. If your offices are there headquartered, why can't you create a bus route so that you can take people from Detroit to the suburbs and suburbs back to Detroit? And that's what the real problem is. You've got this waiting period of time, and we get a lot of complaints that, you know, these individuals can't get to work in time. And so what happens is a lot of people go there and pick up their employees and get them to work, those that really need them. The other thing about those that are under the bridge and bothering people in shopping centers, there's all kinds of books written on it. You have to have zero tolerance. You go in and you have to make them understand that we're policing the area real heavy, and make whatever arrest you do and move people out when they are breaking the law. And you know, at one time, Northland had a larger police department than we did. And they also had taken the oath where they are bona fide officers, could make arrests, they carried guns. I mean, that's the way Northland Mall ran for years. And it was run in a different, in a business way, in the atmosphere. Today, we have people who are taking advantage of an area they call a shopping center, and they don't really care about fixing anything up. So all they care about is getting the cash rent from their, whoever tenants are, and walking away with a profit. And they ought to be told to mark. Either toe the mark or get out of town. And I mean, it's about time, you know, instead of talking, I mean, I don't know what the meeting would be and who would be at that meeting, but, you know, New York had problems, and they started with that zero tolerance, and everything just quelled. And Boston did the same thing. And here we sit, we see a problem, and I'm saying is, you know, you go in with a hit list and group and clean it up. And that means the businesses that don't want to toe the mark, they go too. You can stay within the law, of course, but I mean, you know, and DDA has to get tougher, and, you know, I mean, they come before council, and it's either got to be assessment or something that's going on, or something they're doing, or tearing down a building, but, you know, we had good things happening there with the $28 million worth of reconstruction and expansion of the Oakland Community College. I tell them, you know, you go to Beaumont, they've got purple lights in the parking lots. You know, you go down to Wayne State, they got these lights, I don't know if they're blue or pink or purple, whatever they are, but people feel secure when those things are available to them. And they have walking people. And when people walk and jog and are outside, that is intimidation to anybody who tries to commit a crime. And so, I mean, somehow we've got to get tougher, and I said zero tolerance, and just move them out.
I think we've got to include some discussions with the owners of Northland, because they also own Eastland Mall.
Yeah.
So how can they turn around one mall that looks fantastic in the surrounding stores and leave Northland the way it is? I think we've got to, just can't leave it to the DDA. I think we've got to step in as an elected body, demand they come to the table, bring other people to the table, and really have a good discussion.
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying the DDA ought to do it, we ought to step in.
We've got to do it.
Yeah.
We've got to do it. So.
And I know that this isn't a time, but look at what they did with the DMC. The DMC, Midtown had a crime issue. They took the policing body of the DMC, of Wayne State, and also, what's the other one? It's three of them, the Detroit Police Department. And they have reduced crime in that area because they have joined a partnership. Now you have, in our area, you have OCC, you have Providence, and you have Northland, and you have the Southfield Police. You know, if nothing else. And one of the things they did at Eastland, they moved the bus station from back behind the mall out to the front. So they're not, because right now they're in that cove in their city. And that's part of the reason why they feel comfortable with that activity, because you have to drive back around in there to see any of the activity.
So, Madam Chair, can we put this on an agenda? I mean, this is a very important part of our city, is the whole cornerstone, Northland. And I know Providence has done great things. OCC has done great things. But if you still ignore Northland, you've not really developed that area of the city. And it's a crucial area.
I don't think there's so much being ignored. From what I understand, the bus, DDOT does not want to.
I'm not just talking about DDOT. I'm talking about everything in that area and putting it on a COW and really just getting a strategy.
We can certainly do that.
You know, one other thing has to be, has not been said here, and there has to be cooperation with the city of Detroit. A lot of the homeless people and the people that are out panhandling are on, right across 8 Mile, the bridges there, over the lodge and so on. I have driven with the mayor down there and pointed out, I mean, that's close to where I live. Every time I go downtown, there are people there, they're stationed there, and the city of Detroit seems to ignore it, as well as the weeds, the proliferation of signs selling everything under the sun, yard signs. It's unsightly. And I know I have spoken to the 8 Mile Boulevard Association about the signs when they do occasional sweeps, but it is a disgrace. And a lot of it is, the people that are on the street don't really discern whether it's Southfield or Detroit. They just know it's tolerated there. And it's been going on for quite a while.
Refer that to the city administrator, we'll talk about some future agenda.
Yeah, one of the things is, and I work with Mr. Ashivas and some guy that owns the mall with Kroger, and one of the problems that they have with panhandlers, and the police are frustrated, because if somebody's panhandling and they see a police car come along, they just walk in the store like they're a shopper until the police go away, and then they come back out and panhandle. So the police have to catch them in the act of panhandling. They can do something about it, but even at that, when they go to court, it's kind of like a slap on the wrist, and they're back there again. So we do have to sit down. I agree that we need to sit down and find a better way of getting this all done, because what's happening now isn't working.
We will do that. All right, Mr. Russ, you have the next item.